Hey, how's it going? It's Tim with you on the buzz. I'm back with more news for you around, business, tech, entrepreneurship, everything you need to know to keep you updated on what's going on in the world right now. If it's economic, now I'm here with a story on, on how startup. Now I always talk about these startups that are, we know the UK is basically encouraging a lot of stories for startups and especially tech startups, right? To go for IPO because we want the stock, at least we want the market to start showing a lot of positive results. I mean, apart from the last year's performance, right? So pushing further into the conversation, there is another startup that I have, in mind. I wanted to talk to you about. This is, the guys are basically focusing on reducing paper waste, and these guys are called RegTech. They've secured about 535,000 pounds in terms of raising capital. Now, to go further into this conversation, I'm going to be basically leading you on to understanding who they are, what they do, what their history is, and what has actually been inspiring them. I'll be showing you a quick video on who we are, and I'll be right back with you with the cool story about RegTech. Yeah, that's right. That's us. We're Relax Radio. We are on, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We even have an app so you can actually carry us in your ears. Everywhere you go, you want to, if you want to keep yourself updated on what's going on, even get any good vibes from, we have another show called The Chat Trap, helping you with positivity, right? And then there's also Real Talk, updating you with all the gossip or any type of news that you need to keep yourself updated on. Now, this London-based, this London-based concentration or this startup, basically, these guys are concentrating around paper waste. And if it comes to things like, concentrating on battery-powered flying aircrafts, if it also comes to production in terms of what, you know, pushing back to the greener future, right? So if we are looking at another startup, they've actually raised 645,000 pounds in travel, and this is basically trip abroad. And these guys are AI concentrated. These guys are AI powered. Now this is a family booking platform, and if you're talking about how with these London, basically, now we know how Airbnb came into the story, and TripAdvisor, basically they come in and they raise a lot of trust with the audience, right? And after they raise that trust, it's just a matter of coming to a point where they push you for, they basically convince you on how you can get the better experience of whichever industry, if it's travel, if it is travel in the sense, if it's international travel or if it's local travel. Now we see how Uber has basically changed the game, right? Now I mean, you can basically, now if you look at about 5 to 10 years ago, you'd have to walk to the road, or take a call, book a cab, get in the cab, explain to the driver where you're going. But today it's just at a point where you have to only get the app, let the driver know where you want to be picked up and where you want to be dropped, and it integrates with either Google Maps or Apple Maps, whatever. And you basically don't need to have a conversation with anyone, really. You can stay tuned in whatever you're doing, minding your business, and just get to where you want to go, right? So now I want to talk about this AI travel platform that these guys are actually, now the CEO's name is Ben Davy, and he used to work at Barclay Ventures. Now there are investors that have basically been pumping funding into Trip Abroad, include Valia. This is the former vice president of brand marketing that has been working at Expedia Group. So I mean, this alone, that the head team or the investors actually show a lot of history and, I'd say, know-how on what the travel industry is like. Now, this is super news for me personally, because I think, after a long year, after a year and a half at least of reduced travel, restricted travel, it's super interesting to see how these guys are actually coming up and now launching an AI powered family booking experience. And these guys have basically come in somewhere around September 2020 with a beta launch. And now Redborn Barker, he's basically, this is she's basically one of the 30 women who have basically traveled across the world, selected on, sitting on 2020's tech stars. And she's been a part of Barclays program for the female founders list. And she's basically said that, now I quote when I say this, but the closure of this family's this latest funding round is a true validation of our vision and traction, of the world's first AI powered family travel assistant called Sky. Now, she is also hitting this platform, and she talks about how Sky is looking to guide their users through a discovery and a seamless booking process. The thing about, I think, AI is it's going to understand how and what your personal experience is, preferred to. So that way we understand. I mean, the app at least understands, what your take is for your personal experience. Now, if it's me personally, I'm going to want to do some surfing. I'm going to do want to do some hiking if I'm in the hills, and just it's just a matter of pushing towards those things. If it is, I won't necessarily be the biggest fan of. I won't necessarily be the biggest fan of riding animals, or anything to do with zoos, because I don't believe in funding those anymore, right? Because of the fact that I see it in a way where it is basically taking them away from their natural habitat. And funding these trips or these excursions are basically funding these industries as well, right? So I'm not really the biggest fan of this, but what this platform would basically do is, encourage me. Now, let's say if I am to visit somewhere like Bali, I might have a suggestion to, go surfing, or I might have a suggestion to go hiking. So to push for things like that, I think it's pretty cool, because AI is, I mean, true, it is very, feared initially, but then if you are to look at the positives of it, we can see a lot of scope that can be gotten through this. Now, Alexa Maria, right? Now, this is the same lady I was talking about. She has seen a lot of growth since 2019, and she talks about, since the beta launch, they've had five key European destinations in September. And despite the COVID story, despite the travel restrictions, the business has seen a 10% conversion rate in the initial live release. Now, on the other hand, the industry's average is 3 to 5%. Now, if they're alone, these guys are seeing a 7% difference, right? So, talking about a super 700% increase in the mailing list, and to see how the companies achieved 5-star excellent rating on Trustpilot. These guys seem to be on the right path. These guys seem to be, pushing for a positive and a strong future. Now, with the updates on Trip Abroad, and the former president of Global Travel Services, these guys are talking about how Trip Abroad is looking at addressing a segment of customers that have been largely overbooked by an online booking platform. And the power of the AI, this this also explains, the success of the seed round that they've just made. Now 600K is not a small amount, right? So we are. I think I'm personally convinced about the fact that these guys have a future in terms of growth potential, and tailoring it to a. I mean, the fact that they're tailoring it to a niche, yeah, that niche is basically families, and talking about how the leadership teams of these companies can basically push for focusing around families. These are, I'm pretty confident about this. Now, I want to know what your honest take is. So I want you to actually message us on our hotline, and you can WhatsApp, you can call us. If you want, you can comment on this video as well. Just leave a comment and let us know what your thoughts are. I'm going to put our number up here. It's 07852 473 473. That's right here on the screen. You can call us up on 07852 473 473. So if you have any opinions, if you want us to keep this conversation going, just feel free to reach out. I'm Tim. I'm your host on the Buzz, and anything to do with tech, entrepreneurship, anything to do with the economy as well. I'm talking a lot about crypto, and if it's things to do with with tech startups, or if it is to do with startups that are concentrating around pushing to a greener future, this is the place to have the conversation. Just reach out. I've got the number here. It's 07852473473 again. And you can even comment on these videos with your opinions and let us know what you would like us to keep going in terms of conversation, if it's tomorrow, if it's the day after, or even if it's next week, right? Now I'm going to be logging out, but I'll be back with you for a lot of cool topics right here on Relax